The winter weather is also impacting flights. On the right is a time lapse of FlightAware's misery map. You can see the red growing all throughout the day. And then I looked into the impact. Nearly 4,000 flights were delayed within, into, or out of the United States today.
And it's going to get worse, of course. While the weather is nice here, the travel trouble is expected to trickle down to Tampa International Airport this weekend. 10 Tampa Bay News reporter Miranda Parnell is live there tonight.
And Miranda, the message to anyone flying in or out, keep a close eye on your flight.
Keep checking those apps. That's right, Courtney. You know, out here at Tampa International is really feeling like the calm before the storm. Only about 15% of the flights out here at TPEA have been impacted by cancellations or delays today. And if you're not flying this weekend, you may be thinking, Miranda, what does any of this have to do with me? I don't care. That's not necessarily true. You need to pay attention. We spoke to a transportation management expert, and he tells us many of the everyday goods we use could be held up if chain supply issues happen because of this storm. Now, he tells us that if that supply chain is held up, that could cause problems for all of us. So we asked him how long that could happen and what goods may be impacted.
It's food and beverage, it's retail goods. Fortunately, the industry is pretty resilient. We deal with these types of events several times a year. So typically it's not weeks, it's days to a week in most cases. It just depends on the severity too of the storm as to how long it's going to take to get back to normal.
And we have so many people who are living in our area that are from up north who are monitoring this storm. And we know lots of people love to move to the Sunshine State, but if you were trying to move this weekend, it's going to be tricky, but not impossible. We spoke to the owner and CEO of two college brothers moving and storage, and he tells us it's all about retraining drivers to make sure that they know how to get through those icy conditions, talking to clients, and watching the forecast that our meteorologists have been tracking.
We're definitely taking some precautions on our side to make sure that our drivers are safe, communicating with clients to make sure that they know what's ahead, because not everybody checks the forecasts. Rather be safe than sorry at the end of the day, because the most important thing is not necessarily that you get your stuff up there on the exact perfect day that you want, but that you get your stuff and your family there safely at the other end.
Of course, it's all connected when it comes to the weather, travel, supply chain. Miranda, while you've been out at the airport, have you talked to anyone who's trying to beat the weather by changing flights before these cancellations hit?
Courtney, I spoke to a woman who's in an even worse situation. She tells me this is her first time flying. She just got a connection flight here in Tampa, has a 14-hour layover. I asked her if she's worried. She said, should I be? I had to break the news to her that 2,500 flights have already been canceled for Saturday across the country. And like you all mentioned earlier, there's a trickle-down effect right here in the Tampa Bay area. So we are all crossing our fingers that she makes it out on time. But again, if you are flying this weekend, just keep checking in with your airline for the latest updates. In Tampa, Miranda Parnell, 10 Tampa Bay News.